I recently traveled to England to give a talk to the British Herpetological Society in Birmingham, England. And then, as I traveled for my next talk to the Norfolk Tortoise Club, I had an opportunity to stop at pet shop and a couple zoos. So, besides seeing some private collections that I showed you earlier, the magnificent tortoises and newts, let's see what it's like to visit a pet shop in the UK. Sam and Eleanor are my hosts for this visit, so let's check out Swallow Aquatics and their outdoor animal encounters. Unfortunately, it wasn't really open yet because the weather's still a little chilly. Amazing. They even have a grass pen. They've tried digging burrows, but probably try filling them in. They got their heated house behind there, but it's still out. What's the temperature right now?
12 degrees.
I believe when I checked my phone, the temperature was 54 degrees. But yeah, there's sulcatas out in the UK, as well as red ear sliders. There are no native species of turtles in the UK, but like much of the rest of the world, the red ear sliders taken over. And at their pet shop, and I'll call it a sanctuary, they do take in a number of red ear sliders. Let's travel indoors and see some of the interesting animals there. They have quite a selection of not only fish, but reptiles, amphibians, and a lot of different turtles and tortoises. So I'll just show some of the pictures. Looks like a tegu. And what do we have next? I can't even tell from my picture. Hopefully it shows up better in TV. But a number of different tortoises, Uromastyx. I'd have to say, better selection than a lot of the pet shops here in the U.S. And of course, you have all the hard goods, some of the same vendors we have here. Here's just a quick overview of a few of the cages, what they look like. You can see nice clean setups, signage to say what the animal is, and oftentimes where it's from, and some basic care. Animals all look healthy and in great shape. Here's a cool green keeled-bellied lizard. And they also had a selection of a lot of different aquatic turtles. Something you just don't see that much here. And a lot of the basics, crested geckos, leopard geckos. Let's check out some of the fish. A lot of the fish you'll see in many of the pet shops. I particularly like these lionfish. Just cool looking. So yeah, I had to take a few pictures of them. Back to the reptiles. Back to the fish.
This is a piranha.
We have piranha. I don't think those are legal to sell in Arizona. So you're just never quite sure what you'll see. But you can just tell from this that it's a spectacular pet shop. Some cool animals, quite a variety. And I just kind of scratched the surface. Be neat to kind of come back in the summer when it's warmed up and you can go to those outdoor enclosures. There's a big leopard tortoise. Not too far away is a small zoo, Crocodiles of the World. But first, had to stop and get some lunch. And I don't remember what you call these things, but basically, I guess in the old days, they used to take their stew and dump it in that biscuit and then just eat it. It's pretty good. on to crocodiles of the world. As you enter, they've got some cool little fake fossils of some of the dinosaurs and cool animals. And then, as described, they've got lots of different species of crocodilians and even turtles and other cool stuff. Being in the UK, all these are indoor enclosures. And that looks like an emerald tree boa. Spectacular looking. But all different species of crocodilians. There's a lace monitor. And, of course, watch your kids. Cool place for kids and adults alike. And there's a Philippine crocodile. Here's a brief video of a black tree monitor exploring its enclosure. Just cool to see. Of course, in addition to the black tree monitor, they also have green tree monitor. And a UK first. They have successfully bred and hatched out Galapagos tortoises. There's some of those responsible. Spectacular. Here's the indoor enclosure for the adults. Of course, they also have Komodo dragons. Didn't get a great shot of it as it crawled away under this tree. But that's just amazing that they were able to breed and hatch out Galapagos tortoises. Here's some Nile crocodiles. Wow. Just spectacular to see all the crocodilians, the tortoises, and everything else. But now, not far away, is Cotswold Wildlife Park and Gardens. Has about 260 different species of animals on about 160 acres in Oxfordshire, England. Many of the flowers are starting to bloom, and most of the animals are out, even though the temperature's only about 54 degrees. The buildings and grounds are just spectacular. Definitely fit the description of park and gardens. But here we have an Aldabra tortoise. That's cool. Nice looking tortoise. You can see that little neutral scoot on it. This is their heated indoor enclosure, and watch closely on the right side as the ghost dog appears. Whoa! Yep, very cool. Keep giant Aldabra tortoises. And even though it looks like spring, I have to mention that the weather again was only about low to middle 50s. Looked like an African porcupine. That is a Gundy, whatever that is. Pancake tortoise, hard to see it in the crack in the rock, but some spectacular views of the giraffes. And being a cool day, all the animals were still active. I probably took more video than I needed to of the giraffes, but when they're walking right over to me and those ones in the background were fighting, how can you not? Just spectacular. I found it interesting also that even though the weather was a little cool by my standards, there weren't very many people here at the zoo. If this were in Phoenix on a similar day, it'd be just packed. But that makes a better experience for walking around and viewing the animals, such as this lion. There's the male walking around. Let's check out some pachyderms. Is that what they call camels? I don't really remember. but they're cool to see, whether they have one hump or two. I guess pachyderm refers to mammals with thick skin, such as elephants, rhinos, or hippos. I meant dromedary, but then I'm wrong again because a dromedary is a one-hump camel. It's back-trained camels that have two humps. Dromedaries only have one. I guess I need to get my ducks in a row before I start talking about pachyderms and dromedaries that I don't know anything about. I also don't know anything about ducks. So let's ask a trivia question. Do you think there are more or less than 100 species of ducks in the world? Well, if you said more, you'd be right. Because according to Google, there are over 120 different species of ducks. And here's a few of them. You also saw, that looks like a mallard. That's only one I really know. You also saw some flamingos in the background there. So lots of cool things to see at the zoo. And don't forget the gardens. But let's check out this wolf. What would it be to be in England on a dreary day without a wolf? Woo-hoo! Brings back memories of the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Or maybe it's werewolves in London. Okay, maybe it's just me. Okay, back to the birds. Some cool ones to see, including this cassowary, considered to be the world's most dangerous bird. They can deliver a kick with the force of 1,000 pounds per square inch. So if you don't want to be a dead duck, don't mess with the cassowary. Like the cassowary, the Parma wallaby is also from Australia, a little pouched mammal. I tried to get pictures of them hopping like the kangaroo, but they always stopped before I could get the video. I did get a video of those flamingos in a distance. I guess that doesn't really count. But you can just see it's a spectacular zoo spread out over a large area, large enclosures, provide animal enrichment and welfare for the animals. There's some tapirs. Cool. Just surprising how active and how many of the animals are out in this, what I consider cold weather. Much more active than most of the animals in Phoenix. They also have kind of a children's zoo. Of course, the thing I like to see are the peacocks. Just a spectacular looking bird. And even though it didn't put out its feathers, they're still majestic. But at the kids' zoo, they've got a lot of domesticated animals like the sheep, the pygmy goats from Africa, playing king of the log. Years ago, my daughter actually got second place in a goat show with her pygmy goat. Now my granddaughter has rabbits. Saw those there also, along with these turkeys. But you can see the zoo's a large area, and we've just seen part of it. There's a binturong, barely got a picture of it, but many outdoor enclosures, and then there's also the indoor enclosures for the reptiles. Spectacular snake. Beaded lizard. I really like this Jamaican anole. Just spectacular colors. The blue and almost purple tail. Always like dart frogs. And a gaboon viper, A venomous snake that has 2-inch fangs, the largest of any snake. And the camouflage is just amazing. And here's a green tree python. A frilled lizard native to Australia, one of my favorite lizards, and spectacular to see, especially when they spread their frill on their neck out. The lighting provides UV, makes for some different colors. There's an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, a caiman lizard from South America, Utila Island spiny-tailed iguana. And of course, another one of my favorites, the Fiji banded iguana. Just spectacular to see. And how about this emerald tree skink, little green lizard? They also have some different crocodilians, such as that caiman, and tortoises of different species, including these radiated tortoises endangered from Madagascar. And this made me think of the three wise monkeys: see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And what's a friend to do if not to pick off ticks from your hair? And from China, the yellow-striped box turtle, Cora flavomarginata. Cool to see. And here's, looks like a green anaconda. In the water, see it from above and below. It's obviously shedding. And a Komodo dragon. That's one of the outdoor enclosures. Looks like a Herman's tortoise, actually. Even if there were no animals, it would still be a beautiful park with beautiful landscape and flowers. And here, we've got some bats. Cool to see. I guess I'm back to that outdoor enclosure and the Herman's tortoise.
Yeah.
Kind of cool for them to be out. There's so much area, so many animals at both of the zoos and even the pet shop that it's hard to show them all.
Do something.
But it gives you a little feel of what a pet shop is like in England, and a small zoo and a little larger zoo, and some of the things that they're accomplishing. I love this picture of the rhino and the English building in the background.
This is a white
As it
rhino.
strolls across beautiful green pasture. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. Makes you want to go out there to the zoo and see the animals and see all the beautiful landscape and vegetation. Great work they do. But isn't it amazing that how many people around the world love the animals? And I guess I almost forgot the penguins. Yep, that's one animal that seemed to be right at home. Here's your penguin trivia question. Are there more or less than 12 species of penguins? Are there more or less than a dozen different species? Well, if you said more, you'd be correct. There are actually 18. And they're all kind of cute. Fun to watch. They waddle on land and then swim gracefully in the water. But other than the cotton-top tamarin, that pretty much ends the video. Of course, my host let me stop for one last dinner, and the interesting water channel and locks for the boats to go. Found that interesting. And after we ate, it's on to my hotel so I could catch the plane back in the morning.